how effective is or are these AI models when you use them for, say, diagnosis? Like, is it possible that it can probably give you an incorrect result?
But that's why today AI isn't something which is a decision maker, right? So ultimately, it is the physician who makes the final decision, but the AI to give a perspective on what they see from a platform.
How is the current state in India when it comes to cancer diagnosis?
At this point, definitely the cancer burden in the country is increasing. I think the idea is also to be able to bring some of these technologies and make them accessible to everyone and affordable. And when that happens, definitely there will be more changes that will follow.
Hi, welcome to Rising 2025. I have with me Sripriya Rao. She's the Chief Growth Officer and the founding member of Karkinos Healthcare. Hi, Sripriya. Thank you for coming on Hot Seat.
Hi, Vanna. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So, Sripriya, I want to know more about what is Karkinos Healthcare and what is its objective?
Vanna, primarily in India, the number of cancer cases are increasing. And the challenge with respect to being able to get the supply right with respect to the solutions offering cancer care, as well as being able to do that in an affordable fashion, and also focus on reducing the burden with respect to late stage cancer detections is minimal. And we work on building together a purpose driven technology platform to be able to get to accessible, affordable cancer care in a distributed cancer care model in the country. And that's one of our major areas of focus, and which is end to end, starting from prevention, early detection as a concept, going up to being able to provide for precision and morphology to a molecular based diagnostics for India, and also provide for care in more tier 3, tier 4 locations, where today cancer care is not a reality just yet, and discovered for the country as a roadmap ahead.
Okay, so Sripriya, I want to know how much of AI is actually used in healthcare and how effective is it?
There are many use cases to AI. Even in the roadmap that we work towards, there's a lot that we can do in the space of AI. Of course, the biases to be kept aside, but whether you look at digital pathology slides and be able to look at AI methods to be able to identify the disease patterns early, or to bring precision oncology in life with genetic tests and others, where genome sequencing and then bringing an AI layer on top of it for us to be able to discover for India in spaces of drug discoveries, or even in imaging technologies where, if it's an MRI or a CT image, being able to look at a mammography image and identify patterns for us to see if there is going to be a future cancer that one could envisage, or even something which is as minute, may not be visible to your eyes, but a tech platform can in fact bring it to life. There are many, many, many use cases that one can solve. And we are at it in terms of being able to look at AI at every step of the way. And I'm sure there are many other companies also working in this direction. There are, drug companies who are looking at AI methods to discover new drugs. There are blood cancer pathology companies doing some work in pathology for breast, pancreatic. We've known several of them. So there are many companies in the space now, and a lot of newer work that is now coming about.
Good. So speaking about the accuracy bit, because it's healthcare, it's very critical, right? Like even a small misdiagnosis or something can lead to really bad results. So how effective is or are these AI models when you use them for, say, diagnosis? Like, is it possible that it can probably give you an incorrect result?
But that's why today AI isn't something which is a decision maker, right? So AI is obviously helping you, give you some early analysis to give you patterns of information. But ultimately, the decision is that of a clinician to take, to be able to see whether or not they look at what AI model is telling them and then add to the entire clinical history of the individual, because AI can tell you that much based on what it can see. But it's the clinician who sees the physical condition of the citizen patient, who's essentially seeing what possible scenarios might work in favor of the patient or not, based on also the outcomes as well as the financial patterns that they possibly think that the burden that the patient can carry. So ultimately, it is the physician who makes the final decision, but the AI to give a perspective on what they see from a platform. So I think that's the way it'll always have to be.
So you're saying these perspectives are very different from, say, if a clinician was looking at it?
It just helps them make faster decisions. Okay. So something that a clinician can spend much more time with the patient rather than have to analyze some of this data themselves. But the tech can in fact help them with some of those models sooner. So the time of the physician is going largely in speaking and meeting the patient than have to look at some of these technicalities. So it just helps them, enables them in the journey rather than replacing the clinician as part of the pathway.
Got it. And how is the current state in India when it comes to cancer diagnosis?
There's so much work that's happening at this point. Definitely, the cancer burden in the country is increasing. So obviously the need for diagnostics and improvements in that particular space is critical. A lot of diagnostics today is morphology based on the tumor type and others, but still far from going to a molecular based, genetic based testing of mutations and others. Slowly getting to that model where very small percentage of people are testing themselves for genomic patterns, mutations, and others. But a lot needs to be done in that space to move away. I would say not just look at morphology of the disease, but also look at the molecular patterns. And that's the work that we have to get to as a country in specific, make that diagnostic techniques part of the clinical pathways, which today isn't. But we'll get there. I think the idea is also to be able to bring some of these technologies and make them accessible to everyone and affordable. And when that happens, definitely there will be more changes that will follow.
Got it. And there are certain types of cancer which can be detected at an early stage, right? But even then, you see a lot of people, like a lot of fatality cases from these very kind of cancers. So what are we getting wrong about these diagnoses for these kind of cancers?
It's unfortunate, I would say. I mean, cancers are seen as death. Largely. So not a lot of people want to get themselves detected early or want to get themselves screened early. The fear of cancer or the many other myths towards cancer.
I think even the treatment, right?
The barriers that are being challenged. You're right. One person in 8 minutes is diagnosed of cervical cancer, but a simple HPV vaccine could have prevented it. Or if a lady would have screened herself for HPV DNA test, in a simple OPD procedure, if she had an infection in 15 minutes, can get treated to never have disease again. But it's unfortunate reality that cervical cancer is still the second common cancer in India.
Okay.
And a lot needs to be done in this space. A lot of political will to bring cancer detection and prevention and HPV vaccine. COVID vaccine came in and got adopted in 6 months or less than 6 months. But HPV vaccine has been in place since 2008, but there is less adoption towards it. So lot more awareness, lot more better understanding towards what is available to women or men to be able to screen themselves early is critical in the journey, I would say. So I see this as more a behavioral change than anything else. So we are working towards counseling, bringing some of these vaccines, tests in an affordable fashion across country to even rural masses and be able to take the screening numbers to a lot higher. That'll make a huge difference. It's a journey. We just beginning that journey, I would say, and a long way to go.
Good. And is it true that say even these cancer awareness initiatives that happen, it's more for, I would say, women in terms of talking about breast cancer awareness, cervical cancer. But you even have men who go through, I mean, their set of cancer. But is it somewhere that the awareness process is for? I might be wrong. I'm just like assuming this thing.
I think both will have to be made equally aware, because men are equally susceptible to cancers. There's so many of lung cancer, oral cancer cases. India's the oral cancer capital hub. 30% of cancers that we see are oral cancers, and quite a lot that needs to be done in this particular space. So the awareness is for both men and women. In fact, more men should be encouraged to take this awareness so they can get and facilitate, encourage, counsel the women of the house to also come forward and screen themselves, because women tend to think that they are more here for family and put their health more or less more than important for their family members, but less as a priority for themselves. So there's so much to be done where men should take the lead in getting the women of the family to get screened, and men also to come forward and screen themselves. It's right that we've seen many women bring their, many male members bring their women forward and get themselves screened, but will say, oh, I don't need this screening for myself. But that will have to change eventually, and that more and more counseling will take that step forward.
Correct. And one question on the treatment bit. So do you agree that over time, say, the cost of this whole treatment and the whole stigma associated with it has kind of like gone down, as in you're able to afford more of it? Or are we still in that phase where it's still a difficulty, like it's like a wrecking a family if someone is diagnosed with cancer? That's how it has always been.
I think it's about who we are really talking about here. But for the rural masses and the masses who are in the low segment of population, it's still a heavy burden. India does, as part of the health state subject as well as Ayushman Bharat, a lot of cancer treatments indeed are part of the healthcare packages. But still only if you're confirmed cancer, but for diagnostics, and if you're proved to be negative, it is an out-of-pocket expense, and because of which a lot of people don't come forward and get themselves screened, and a lot to be done in that space as well. So you promote a universal healthcare subject is where it becomes critical for India as a directional way forward. But yet at the same time, there are also areas where costs are coming down. Computing costs are coming down rapidly, because of which genomics and others are also coming down, making it slightly more affordable than what it was 10, 20 years ago. But I think in another 10 or 20 more years, a lot further cost reductions will happen. When we discover for India, for our own population, a lot of this will change.
Got it. And any advice you would give to, say, young women also who, I mean, a lot of this cancer discussions and all happens to, we talk about women of a certain age, you cross 40 or something. But I think the awareness has to start from at a young age itself.
Absolutely.
So
for the adolescents, I would recommend get yourselves vaccinated with HPV vaccine, both boys and girls. There is a vaccine that's available that is life-changing. And
so even boys have to?
Boys can, in fact, take an HPV vaccine. There's a Gardasil 9, which is also approved for boys.
Okay.
Or if your doctor prescribes anything else, you can obviously consult your doctor. We offer vaccine at an impact pricing already, so that more and more people can take vaccines at home. We, in fact, get our, nurses and paramedical staff go home and give vaccines to the girls. If somebody chooses to take it, we offer them at cost that we receive, not at an MRP. So everyone, I urge you go ahead and take your vaccines. WHO recommends 9 to 26 for the vaccination, or as early as you can in this particular segment. And also for your mothers, please go ahead and get themselves to screen for breast, cervical with HPV DNA testing on a validated platform and get it done. There are even self-sampling methods available. If somebody is not comfortable to show themselves to a gynecologist, you can self-collect sample and send it to the lab. And that's indeed possible. And we can make that happen today. So yeah, get yourself screened. So cancer is not always about death. Yeah, if detected early, there are many mechanisms of being able to cure several types of cancers.
Got it. Well, thank you so much, Sripriya. This has been very insightful.
Thank you, Vanna, for having me here.
Yeah.
All the best.
Thank you.